it is not the free India we had envisioned, what we had fought and struggled for. Partition? Partition? Are we so consumed with despair that we have convinced ourselves that partition is the only solution? Subhash, you departed too soon.
A few weeks before Rana Kaka Babu had left, he had exiled himself in his room. He would make appearances at meal times and then lock himself in his room again. I wanted to ask him what he was working on, but I didn't. He would tell me when the time was right. And then one day, he was gone. Later, Baba told me that he had traveled by car, train and on foot through Kabul, then Moscow and finally reached Berlin. I was not surprised. Kaka Babu always found a way to reach where he needed to. In fact, Baba had a nickname for him.
The Prince of Vagabonds.
For the next few years, letters from Kaka Babu were rare, but his voice reached me through the radio, whenever we could catch the frequency.
Against a brutal foe, no amount of civil disobedience, sabotage, or revolution can be of any avail. If, therefore, we want to expel the British from India, we shall have to fight the enemy with their own weapons. But it is not possible for our countrymen at home to organize an armed revolution and to fight the British army of occupation that has modern arms. This task must therefore devolve on Indians living abroad and particularly on Indians living in East Asia.
During that time, we were never really certain where Rana Kaka Babu was. But his voice and words were echoing beyond borders, in our home and in Indian homes far and wide.
The hour has struck. Every patriotic Indian must advance towards the field of battle. When the blood of freedom-loving Indians begins to flow, India will attain her freedom.
2 years later, he made his way back to the east. This time, Kaka Babu had taken the underwater route on German and Japanese submarines. Here at home, things were getting very difficult.
The very idea of a compromise with the British is repugnant to us. It will, we very strongly feel, mean the perpetuation of our slavery. Friends, we have resolved to create a united and free India. Therefore, we shall oppose all attempts to divide her and cut her up into bits.
And then, a few months later, we received news. A bomber aircraft had taken off from Formosa in Japan and had crashed at takeoff. They said Rana Kaka Babu had been on it. No, it had to be a mistake. Maybe his enemies had taken him hostage, or maybe he was a part of a new ploy in the fight for freedom. No one believed the air crash story. The question on everyone's mind was he really gone? And me, well, I could not imagine a world without Rana Kaka Babu. Would the postman never again bring a letter with Ami written on it in his precise, neat hand? Were his words also gone with him?
No, Ami, they are not. He shared them with you in his letters and diaries and his manuscript. Didn't he give it to you when you met him in London?
Yeah, he was returning to India. For some reason, he didn't want to carry his unfinished manuscript with him. He gave them to me and said, Ami, complete this work if I
Die in an air crash?
I know Baba was shattered by the loss of his younger brother, his closest friend, his most trusted ally. But he did not wallow in his grief. Instead, he immersed himself in rehabilitating the soldiers of the Indian National Army who were returning to India as British prisoners of war.
We have to do something about these soldiers, Ami. They fought alongside the British Army, but the government, they're not going to do anything about helping them, getting them jobs, educating their children.
Baba and I plunged ourselves into helping the soldiers and their families. Ranga Kaka Babu would have done the same. It was the best way for us to honor his memory. And in a way, it helped soothe the wound that his loss had inflicted on us. And Baba also continued his efforts to stop partition.
The acceptance of the Mountbatten Plan has created a situation which calls for the mobilization of all leftist and revolutionary forces. India stands divided. Two of the major provinces are being partitioned. The domination and exploitation of the two Indias by British imperialists will continue, but possibly in a more subtle and insidious form under the name of dominion status. At this critical juncture, we cannot afford to sit quiet.
But Baba's plea did not gain enough support. I could not understand why. Why did we give in to demands that were so against everything that we stood for? Yes, Hindus and Muslims had clashed in the past, but they had also fought side by side for the bigger common goal. Like during the Khilafat movement.
You remember? You were only a child.
Baba, I was not a child. I was almost 10 years old.
Okay, almost 10 is certainly not a child. Gandhiji encouraged the Khilafat committees. He felt it would draw Indian Muslims into the nationalist movement. The cooperation between Hindus and Muslims at that time made me so happy. I felt like there was hope despite the history of strife.
But it didn't last.
I think the problem was in the way the Muslim masses were pulled into the freedom movement. Islam in danger was the slogan that was used. It wasn't India's freedom or any socio-economic agenda.
It was religion.
And it had repercussions.
The riots in Calcutta and all of Bengal.
Temples, mosques, gurudwaras were being attacked. Blood was being spilt on the streets. Bengal was burning.
Baba, you would be often gone for days at a stretch. You'd return home for a couple of days and then leave again.
There was so much bloodshed in the villages, and the anger, I could see it burning in the eyes. We organized volunteer groups, engaged preachers and trained instructors. The wounded had to be taken care of, but we also needed to keep things calm. I was constantly worried about your mother and you children, but I needed to be there as well.
It's okay, Baba. We were safe at home.
So many lives were lost, and for what? And yet 20 years later, we have learned nothing. My Hindu and Muslim brothers are back at each other's throats. And our jaundiced and weak-kneed statesmanship, consumed by an irrational despair, have found that the cure-all for the ills of this country is partition. Partition!
Lord Mountbatten's plan had been accepted. We would be divided into India and Pakistan. Punjab would be split between the two countries. And our home, Baba, our Bengal will be torn into two as well.
I confess that the resolution has not surprised me. A sort of fear complex seems to have wreaked havoc in the minds of many of us. But by accepting religion as the sole basis of distribution of provinces, the work that has been done for decades has been undone.
How had our countrymen, our leaders, our heroes allowed that to happen? The words that I had heard over and over from Baba and Kaka Babu rang in my ears. One country, unity, complete Swaraj. Every word had been sacrificed.
To my mind, a division on the religious basis is no solution. Hindus and Muslims still have to live side by side. The risk of communal conflicts will remain. If we divide Bengal and Punjab on the basis of religion, what about the Muslims in Western Bengal and the Hindus in Eastern Punjab? And what about the minority religious groups in other provinces of India? Are we going to have Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Buddhist, Christian, Parsi and other religious pockets throughout the country? The concept of a religious state is not a new one, but the advanced countries of the world have dismissed it or grown out of it. To accept that concept in 1947 and apply it to India will mean pushing her back to the Middle Ages. It is a reactionary and anti-revolutionary step that shuts out progress for long years to come. It will further aggravate the communal problems and make its solution difficult, if not impossible. The population of India is composite in character. This sort of communal segregation or religious quarantine is neither desirable nor feasible.
The date was set. On the 15th of August, the British would leave India, and India broken into parts. Baba accepted that partition was now inevitable. But he still had hopes that maybe he could keep Bengal undivided.
The crisis that has overtaken India because of the Mountbatten Plan was not entirely unexpected. Such crises sometimes appear in periods of transition. We must overcome them and strengthen and consolidate all leftist and revolutionary forces in the country. We have to distinguish between real leftists and revolutionaries from the pseudo ones. We have to distinguish between those who offer lip service to the ideology of Netaji and those who really believe in it. We need to rally people of all communities who do not subscribe to communalism in any shape or form. These people must be prepared to undertake the work of reunifying the country on a socialist basis. The communal poison that has entered into our souls has to be completely eradicated if India has to live. We must approach all the problems facing us from a nationalist and socialist points of view. We must form ourselves into a cohesive, well-knit and disciplined unit. I appeal to friends and co-workers all over the country and people at large, the unknown soldiers who are and will be the makers of India's destiny. Serve the cause of freedom, democracy and socialism with undying faith and devotion.
On the 15th of August, the tricolor of Free India was hoisted for the first time. The country rejoiced, but our house was quiet. Bengal too had been cleaved. I missed Ranga Kaka Babu. The day will come when conflicts between the Hindus
And the Muslims shall end. Nationalism is, after all, a sentiment. And sentiment can be cultured as much as physique can be.
ধনো ধান্যে পুষ্পে ভরা আমাদের এই বসুন্ধরা তাহার মাঝে আছে দেশ এক সকল দেশের সেরা সে যে স্বপ্ন দিয়ে তৈরি সে দেশ স্মৃতি দিয়ে ঘেরা এমন দেশটি কোথাও খুঁজে পাবে না কো তুমি সকল দেশের রানী সেজে আমার জন্মভূমি সে যে আমার জন্মভূমি সে যে আমার জন্মভূমি